يا راغبا في كل علم نافع.
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. هذه عقيدتنا الصحيحة فطرة تنفي الشكوك بواضح البرهان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Islamic Creed level 3, and still talking about matters of shirk. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all from shirk and al-kufr. And we were talking about the major shirk that takes the person outside the fold of Islam, that if a person dies in that state, he will be among the people of the hellfire forever. And whoever repents to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from it, he's saved by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talked about a dua, that a dua is ibadah. And the shirk al-akbar is when someone do an act of worship to other than Allah. Like making sujood to other than Allah is a very obvious major shirk. Also, a dua is like sujood, is a ibadah, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ad-du'a huwa al-ibadah." The dua is the ibadah. So therefore, it's to be only done to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the dua, part of the dua is to ask. You're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So someone might ask, what is permissible and what is not permissible when it comes to asking other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is it asking other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times, under any circumstance, is a form of shirk? To make this matter clear is that whoever asks other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in something that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do, that person had committed a shirk, associated partners with Allah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ أَضَلُّ مِمَّنْ يَدْعُ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ مَنْ لَا يَسْتَجِيبُ لَهُ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ وَهُمْ عَنْ دُعَائِهِمْ غَافِلُونَ. There's no one more deviant than someone that invokes other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, someone that does not respond to him, even if he calls upon him till the day of Al-Qiyamah. And they are heedless of what they are doing and invoking them. So, for example, if you say to your brother, can I borrow your pen? Can you make me a cup of coffee? Something like this. They're able to do it, so there's no harm. This is not shirk or anything. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But to ask someone dead, those who are dead, they cannot protect themselves, they cannot push away harm or benefit others, let alone their own self. So that means they are not to be asked. And even if it's something that those who are alive are able to do, imagine someone asks someone that is dead, can you please make a cup of coffee for me? How would that person be categorized? He will have to seek some mental help. So they say, why? Because the dead person is not able, he has no capacity to do so. So when people go to the dead or to the grave and they ask them to forgive their sins or to help him with his job or job interview and things like this. So anything that the human beings are not able to do, even if a person is alive, if someone goes to someone alive and he says, forgive my sin, make me among the people of Jannah, that alive person, he has no power to do so. This is a matter of shirk. And of course, again, asking those who are dead. And one of the example of that or the like of this is when it comes to seeking help from someone. Al-isti'ana is an act of worship when you seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. Can you seek help from a makhluk, from a creation of Allah? You can, in whatever they are capable of doing. Right? If you ask or you seek help from a makhluk, from a creation of Allah, where only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do, then this is a matter of shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something that is clearly to be stated as part of shirk, which is the shirk in matters of ibadah or matters of dua, the matters of dua. The second type of the major shirk is that when a person have associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with matters of his intentions and his will and his objective. like the pure hypocrites, those who have nothing in their hearts with matters of al-Iman. They have no intentions whatsoever to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're just acting physically, making salah, doing things to be among the believers physically, to benefit from them, to plot against them. But in their hearts, they have no intentions whatsoever to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And of course, this is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And it's not for the human beings to point fingers at people and say that they're hypocrites. We do not know what's in their hearts. So this is with the subject of hypocrites, those who have major or upon major hypocrisy, those who have disbelief in their hearts and they pretend with their physical actions to be like the believers. And there's verses in the Quran that talks about this. إن المنافقين يخادعون الله وهو خادعهم وإذا قاموا إلى الصلاة قاموا كسالى يراؤون الناس ولا يذكرون الله إلا قليلا. The hypocrites, they think that they deceive Allah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will deceive them in the day of judgment, as it's mentioned in Surah Al-Hadid. And when they get up for the salah, they're lazy, they're showing off to the people, and they don't make remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except little. The third type of shirk is to associate partners with Allah in the obedience of Allah. So, and this is also something that we need to understand it very well. So whoever believes that other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have the right to legislate or to make halal and haram, this is a major shirk, because this is something that is exclusive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاءُ شَرَعُوا لَهُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذَنْ بِهِ اللَّهُ. So they have shuraka, do they have partners that they legislated for them what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not permit? And we're talking about the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded and for people to follow and to obey. But for example, if people make laws of traffic laws and things like this, there's no harm in this. So this is something that is, also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said about the people of the book and Adi ibn Hatim radiallahu anhu, when the verse was revealed, اتخذوا أحبارهم ورهبانهم أربابا من دون الله, about the people of the book, that they took their rabbis and their monks or their priests as lords besides Allah. So he said to the Prophet ﷺ, we did not worship them besides Allah, O Prophet of Allah, because he was a Christian before. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said to him, didn't they make what halal for you permissible, and made what's forbidden haram for you? He said yes. He said فَتِلْكَ عِبَادَتُهُمْ. This is how you worshipped them. So, for example, the people of knowledge in the deen of Islam, they only show to the people what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permitted, what the Prophet ﷺ forbade, what the Prophet ﷺ permitted, which is all part of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala permitted and forbade, which is the wahi revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't legislate for the people from their own selves and make their own religion to them. A fourth category or type is the shirk of al-mahabba, the love. When it comes to the mahabba of the ubudiyyah, not any natural love, but the love of ta'zeem, the love of exalting other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which is supposed to be only to Allah. The love which is the perfect one, the love that would a person make him humble himself, and make him worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As the disbelievers, they associate partners with Allah with their idols, in which they would love them the way that they love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their ta'zeem, in exalting them. The love of the ibadah, the love of worship. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. From the people, those who would take other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as rivals, they love them the same way they love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is categories of shirk for a person to be warned against. And as you see, all of them comes with the thing that is common among all of this is when a person would worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the tawheed. The shirk is when someone worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Divert an act of worship to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This can be by the heart, this can be by a physical action. So it shows the importance of the tawheed and to run away from matters of shirk. And that's why some of the aspects or the ways that the people would do kinds of shirk is things that are physically and practically done, but we'll talk about that inshallah ta'ala next time to explain more of some of the practical matters that people do or actions that comes under the category of the major shirk. We'll do that inshallah ta'ala in the next class. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا راغبا في كل علم نافع
ينمو العلم ويتقدم بتقنياته ومجالاته، ومعه نطور أدواتنا في تقديم العلم الشرعي. أكاديمية
زاد أكاديمية ينبوعها صاف ليروي غلة الظمآن. هذه عقيدتنا الصحيحة فطرة تنفي الشكوك بواضح البرهان. بشرى لنا زاد أكاديمية للعلم كالأزهار في البستان.